Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com.
Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
All right, shalom. Thank you, there we go. Salama. Siyemi. Shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. Thank you again, family, for the support of this. It's a major endeavor. It's a major endeavor. And the campaign is being waged here at Covenant Awakenings and in the background. So your prayers are definitely appreciated for the Ghanaian land acquisition. That land acquisition for the first phase is to develop a hospital. So I appreciate your prayers and your support because this will be done in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. And you know, it's funny because as I think about all the things that we've been able to accomplish as a community, one of the biggest things that we have to look at is where we've come from. When people say, well, don't look in the past, don't look in the past. Maintain course, keep going forward. You know, I have to really get an understanding. And I look at that also because again, I have to see and reflect on how the Most High has pulled me forward. And in a lot of these cases, pulled me through. And most of the time, I got drugged through. And really, that's okay. Our people have been drugged through different things because the Most High had to literally pull us through due to really our stiff necked our stiff necked ways. We're stiff necked. But considering where we are at in this time presently, you know, man, I'm looking for this verse. And it's an Old Testament verse, and or Google brings me to First Timothy, and I'm not trying to look for First Timothy. It's actually in the Old Testament. And I'm wondering, I don't know if it's Isaiah 14 that comes to mind. But it was talking about prophecy. And one of the things that we're actually looking at, and I believe it actually is this, is Isaiah 14. I'm going to bring this on up because I know that people have their own interpretations of strangers in Israel and strangers. This would be definitely a Sister Chantel scripture right here, Isaiah 14. But it says right here, for Yahuwah will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. Key word, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. Now we have to also cross reference that with Jeremiah 14. Excuse me, Jeremiah 29. Jeremiah 29. Isaiah 14, that you have then another precept with that. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. Who? This is why, I was talking the other day just offline, and when I talk about a lot of the things that we have, I see a lot of things as Hebrew science fiction, right? Israelite science fiction. And I mean, I guess that's okay if you want to get your point across, but I'm going to tell you this. Shout out to Gates of Holder. You have to have the word, and that word has to be your foundation because unfortunately, this is how we've got to where we're at. We're now dissecting the societal collapse. The societal collapse is I want to give my feelings, and my feelings are my feelings, and I don't care what you say about it. Sorry, it took me a little bit of time to build up to this in the background. But in order to get things right, I have to let the Most High, through the Ruach HaKodesh, lead in all these things. Because shout out to Sister Shonda. I think some folks have known of that specific community that was being highlighted. Yeah, it went viral. 1.6 million of some folks that are on the welfare state. And one of those things, again, to me, I don't really touch that community because, to be quite honest, I don't really care. But in terms of what we're dealing with in the construct of today's world, prophecy, and the past, that again, a lot of our contemporary folks don't want to look at. And again, you see what's happened and why they didn't want to look at that. And then you get the result. I don't want to sound cruel. I don't want to sound indignant, indifferent, but I have to tell the truth. And the truth is that unfortunately, you had a Caucasian white female that had died because she did not want to understand the past. And when you don't know your past, you're going to be confronted with a very unpleasant future, i.e., Q America, and dissecting this societal collapse. See, the crazy thing is that all of this stuff that has taken place 1,000 times. There's nothing new under the sun. We're just now seeing it at a very colossal monumental moment to where he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. And this captivity, yes, although this was a captivity for us, although it was a multi-generational prison here in the United States, that we made it look pretty nice. Imagine Joseph. Now you understand why Joseph was running things in prison. He was allowed to go on out and deal with the affairs of the prison. Oh, he made that thing look nice. This is a prison? What? Oh, they got that. They got courtyards. What? They got volleyball tents, nets. They got some basketball hoops. Look at these weights. Oh man, these are the weights that you see at the gym. Who's running this? No, Joseph didn't just run the yard. Joseph was literally managing the affairs of the prison. Remember, prisons weren't the way that you think that we see right now. That was just a whole construct of Eurocentrism, heliocentric prisons. I would say that the best model of the prisons back then is something that you see in these Scandinavian countries. And we look and it's like, dang, they cook their own meals. They're in school. It's like I looked at those prisons. I said, those are dorms. I said, and those are better looking dorms than anything that you get on Pell Grants. Look better than some of mine on campus housing. It only took me one semester to figure that out. This isn't it. That thing looks better than most military bases. Go ahead and Google Swedish and Norwegian prisons, Finnish prisons, Scandinavian prisons. They'd be like, we have, I got in trouble here doing some drugs, and I need to get rehabilitated. And part of my rehabilitation is that I work with a group of people. We have good jobs and skills. So once I'm done in about another 12 to 18 months, I'll be ready for the workforce. It's dorms. I'm like, wait a second. But see, a lot of what we're seeing come about was simply from Romanology. Because it wasn't about rehabilitation, it was always about being able to exert the control while destroying others. And this is why we're here in a very interesting manner. Because while America is fighting itself from within, it's making a whole lot of enemies outside of its borders. But again, people wanted to say, oh, we're just going to do this. We're just going to do that. We're just going to. Let's see what this word says, please. Yeah, it's a commodity. Why? Because we were here in the slaves, in the stocks. That's all they did. They took the stocks in the prisons from literally the slave coast, and they transferred that all around the world. And America did the best with it. Excuse me. They optimized it. I wouldn't say do the best. They optimized it. And now all of a sudden, understand that's coming on them. Understand that now, when think about this place, for those that are here right now, what happens when we leave and what happens when the resources are cut off? This place literally becomes a third world country. Hence, i.e., you're starting to see that collapse with silver. It's starting to become a third world country. And then when silver goes, then there's going to be other minerals and resources leaving. Why? Because it's starting to self cannibalize. That's why you're seeing everything with ice. It's actually just a self cannibalization that is targeting everybody. Let's get you revved up so you can get up on out of here. That's what they're trying to do and not say in so many words. But I want us to think about this because quite simply we're seeing the actual replay of 1453. We're seeing the replay of the dumb diverses. And when you see that, oh, the Yahudim, the Yahoos, whatever you wanted to discover or how they had that stated in these historical books that obviously cost thousands of dollars because why? Because if they want you to know the truth, they're going to have to pay for it. And you can find all this with Brother Dante Fortson, BHITB. You can find all this with our scholars. Yacoba talks about this and Teyu extensively over at teoministries.com. The resources there. But what they don't say is that when that Spanish Inquisition was really first beginning, people got a chance to leave. Hey, it's not going to be good for you. You're going to need to leave. I know we're going to need to leave, but I'm going to try to stay here as much as possible because I'm trying to make sure that our people understand that, look, it's going to be time to leave. And that's what we do. Some out of ignorance, some out of fear, and then here comes the quote unquote real austerity measures. And that's when it goes from something that's voluntary to then a more forceful and forceful reaction, like we're seeing right now. You know, I always shudder to think about all the things that we see happening, but I have to. I have to understand the real pragmatic approach. Why do I say what I say? Well, here's the document of truth. It's the word. Isaiah 14 and 2. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahuwah for servants and handmaids. Yes, they're bringing us back on boats, and the folks that's helping us along, they're going to say, we need to get up on out of here because we're not safe too. What kind of an American are you? I didn't see this in 1948. I didn't see this in the mid 20th century with what's going on in regions in the Eastern Mediterranean nation. And they shall take them captives who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Uh that hasn't happened. So that prophecy has not been fulfilled. This isn't to bash on anybody. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. This is for our people to read and to understand what the Most High has said. But you want to know why this society has collapsed? It's collapsed because there was a messaging campaign, and that messaging campaign really affected us. But guess what? Even you ever get the term of blowback? Be careful how you use the poison, because you may just end up poisoning yourself instead. How many times have we seen that with these wannabe terrorists? And then there's been some sort of an explosion or house fire and things of that nature. And hours later, they find out that the person that died had some sort of an agenda, was saying all craziness on social media. And then they got some faulty instructions from the honeypot that was feeding them all sorts of disillusion and, and bitterness. And then they ended up literally deleting themselves. Well, that is actually what we had. That is actually what we're seeing right now. That even though they tried to poison us, they actually set up their own generational okey doke. Oh, you gotta remember, we are the voice. We are the people. We are the scepter. So you try to poison the scepter, um, you're gonna drink your own poison. And they did that. And they did that masterfully. All right, let's influence these people that have the world's biggest influence to do crazy. And then guess what ended up happening? Their generations got influenced by us. And while they got influenced by us, do you know what that did? We were actually able to see the ridiculousness of how we looked based off of how they mimicked. You know, the conversation I had with Sister Chantel and about, white speed and everything else, I laughed because that mimicry is something that really helped us to snap out of it. Is that how they see us? Is this what they see? And guess what? I guess now, 2 decades later, Africa is now going through that same identity crisis. I'm just Like, wow, Asians and Latinos and Indians. Well, Latinos, they kind of already knew. They already got that assignment last year. But now the Chinese and the Indians here in the U.S., they're getting their FAFO moment. And now they're starting to see, and let me tell you, you want to know why they're having their FAFO moment? It's not because of their own accord. It's literally because they're vulnerable. Because why? Because we stopped participating. We stopped participating in our own destruction, our own demise. And my oh my, do you see how the tables have literally flipped? Oh, we're beginning to find out that they don't really like us too. Yep, because you want to put yourself right there, smile and giggle, and guess what? You're going to be deleted. What do you think is going to happen when you're in close proximity? But he wasn't like that at work. She wasn't like that at work. They weren't like that in school. They weren't. Okay. We by and large, our people have kind of grown past that. By and large. Because why? Because we've had the experience. And all we did was that we withdrew our hand. And guess what? Now the society's collapsing. We said, no, no more. Well, don't you want to? Don't you want to? No, no, we don't. No, thank you. Beautifully put, Minister Rick. We opted out of their matrix, so it's next minority up. Absolutely. And now it's not just about the minorities. Now it's about, well, we got to do AI. Because why? Because these folks see what's coming. They know what's getting ready to happen. Let me get back into here because this is with Isaiah 14. This is very, very good in this time. And it shall come to pass in the day that Yahuwah shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. That was a scripture that caught me yesterday. When they try to say, oh, it's National Day of Service, it's like, dang, you couldn't even rest. They tried to throw that little, hey, it's I'm okay, but it's National Day of Service. No, they always want us working because they always want us in fear and in sorrow and in bondage. They don't want us resting. The funny thing is, we literally had that year of rest. We said, now we're out of it 2025. Now we're going to continue it. Because why? Because that year of rest was actually what happens when you rest. What does your body do? What does your mind do? You get a chance to heal. You get a chance to recuperate. You get a chance to settle yourself and be able to breathe and think. And then when you're able to breathe and think, you begin to understand more than what is shown to you or given to you. You begin to come out of poverty. You begin to come out of lack. You begin to understand what it is that has been hindering you, faltering you. You begin to ask more questions. And what do you always ask? Man, how did we get here? Well, what they will say, if there's a God in heaven, why are we like this? You know, that's the worst thing that they want us to say. Even if we say it with just jest or some sort of commentary. But the moment we open our mouths and we say, if there is a God in heaven, we know his name is Yahuwah. But that's sometimes what it takes. That's the simplest thing. To be able to start to dissect how to move forward. This journey that we're on, I've been now on this journey. It'll be 10 years in October. 10 years, October. And I say that because I distinctly remember the audible voice saying, because you are an Israelite. What? Huh? And I had to ask my cubicle mate, because I was a contractor at that time. And I had to ask if he had said something to me. Because I know that that was the voice of a brother. Said, Amos, did you say anything? I didn't say anything. Huh? And then from that moment forward, that was my journey. See, a lot of what we haven't understood was during that time of our awakening, they were literally collapsing. They were spiritually collapsing. But for people that don't know anything about the spiritual collapse, they didn't understand it. We were already telling them the formula. You do things in the spiritual, and then it manifests in the natural. That's how it goes. These folks were warring in the spirit, and now they have a natural war that has been manifested on the whole world. Why is this? Man, this is what Isaiah 14:4 says. Thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Oh my goodness. The golden city. The love of gold. The Golden City, the Golden Country. Yahuwah hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole world, or the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yahuwah had broken the staff of the wicked. Do you not see how this stuff is, how they're being broken right now in front of us? The Most High is doing this right in front of our faces. You know, the funny thing is, if you were to ask me this about 10 years ago, I would have, no, I couldn't see it. I mean, I knew that it would be a possibility, but I couldn't see that. 5 years ago, maybe. Right now, well, my bags are packed. I got my important documents where I need to have them at all times. I got a change of clothes. I got some deodorant. I got some toiletries. I got the little travel packs just in the event. This may be a 2 or 3 day adventure. But I don't think it's going to take that long. And I say this. And the people shall take them. This is Isaiah 14:2. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. You know it's starting to get bad when you can literally see prophecy unfolding in front of our very eyes. I think that right now in these next couple of weeks, I could have gotten to the news stories because listen, they're building up to go into Denmark. Norway got an actual formal letter from Trump, still whining about the Nobel Peace Prize. And now you're about to see NATO literally being abolished. Oh boy, this whore's about to get thrown off this beast in a spectacular fashion. Yes, will they really take us home? What do you think the scripture says? Yes, there's mechanisms to this. Why do you think what's happening in Africa is happening? What do you think the mechanism was for BRICS? It wasn't just that, oh, they want to have, nice alternative measures. No. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. That's what the word says. Why do people doubt the word? Here you go. Are we going to go through some things before that happens? Yeah, absolutely we are. We may, if we're living in interior places like Chicago, St. Louis, Kansas City, shoot, maybe even like Dallas and Colorado, places out there in the West and Midwest. Yeah, you're going to have a trek. But again, as I'm saying this, you're now seeing everybody's looking at the U.S. like it's lost its mind because it has. It literally has lost its mind. So you have to think about it. People don't want to fight just because, well, it's to fight. That's the last thing they want to do. Remember, they're going to fight to try to bring back order and a sense of stability, quote unquote, to the United States. That's their thought process. And along the same line, they're going to try to give the kidney gloves. Hey, for the sense of the world, standing and the world order and all this other stuff. They're going to be crying about taking this place down. That's why it says the merchants of the world are standing off. That's why you get there in Revelations. They don't want to see their stock market, their economies crashing. But now they got to fight the neighbor that's holding their dough, that's holding their gold, that's holding their minerals. That was the bank. Hey, I got it. I'm making money on over here. You want to make money too? Yeah. We could all make money together. Yeah. That dream is crashing on them. I was gonna I was gonna title this earlier. The American Psychosis. I think I'll do that tomorrow. But yeah, family, we're here in some really interesting, dire times, to say the least. But let me tell you, the Most High is awesome because he already has a plan for us. It's just nice to see now you understand when people are like, oh, there's going to be UN, there's going to be blue helmets. Surprise, surprise. It didn't mean that America was going to take us. It didn't mean that Americans were going to take. I think that the rest of the world are going to be like, all right, we need to get you on out of there because you are the vulnerable population. We had said that. Africa now has what they need to have to be whole. We'll never be able to get out of this without our brothers and sisters coming back. They're going to strike while the iron's hot. The only question that I have is, and I don't like to give timelines. I really don't, but I'm wondering if that's going to happen within the next 90 days. That's what I think. I think I'm going to say this. There's a strong possibility that that could actually be within the next 90 days. Especially when you have Ghana rejecting the IMF. You now have the World Economic Forum that's happening literally today in Davos. And they have to come to the reality and conclusion they're going broke. They're losing money. They are going broke. And remember, you know how our people are. Oh, you broke? Oh, that hurts. You're not getting our resources? Oh, man. Oh, you want some more of these resources, huh? Oh, well, nah, no. I'm not trying to be petty, but do you not remember how many times that you were oppressing me? How many times you were doing me dirty when you're kicking me when I was down, when you're murdering us, when you're stealing us, when you're burning us, torturing us? No. Kick rocks. How hath the oppressor ceased and the golden city ceased? No more. And everybody's gonna try and get their lack, or excuse me, their lick and their get back. That's what's gonna end up happening. So stay in this place if you want to. No, we got reparations. You need to get this. You get look. This place is gonna get demolished. It's gonna get smashed. Why do you think they're trying to go into crypto? They know what's going on. Like I said, I believe that they were doing crypto. So when they actually had the real wealth, the real value, the real money, they can be like, here, and we're still trying to get things together. That's what I think. I think that they are doing this silver collapse so they can then repossess the silver so then they can have some sort of a payment for us. Because it's not just going to stop with silver, they're going after the gold too. Brother Asaph, we're going to pray for you in that muscle graft. You don't need to run because we're going to pray we're going to pray for spiritual help. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's coming, family. It's coming. But with that said, I got to get up on out of here. Excuse me. It's Tuesdays. But before I go, I want to show this video. Courtesy of Brother Fast Nickel. Here we go. Hopefully you were able to see that video. So that is what we are working towards to accomplish. Tell your neighbors, your friends, anyone that you may know. This is a vital endeavor. Oh, I show speed is in Senegal. Okay. I knew it was going to be in Senegal. I knew it was going to be in Senegal. At least he could celebrate with the real winners. Because my man took that devastating L in Morocco and in North Africa, just in general. Just saying. All right. With that said, family, most high willing, I'll see you all tomorrow. If you'd like to support this channel, you may do so at $COVAWK1, $COVAWK1. It really does. It really does help with me being able to come on and give you and provide this content that the Most High has inspired upon me. And he truly does. So I thank you, family. And with that said, family, be blessed. And with that, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom, peace and blessings, Yasharel.